Welcome to Building Reports in BI. First, we just want to introduce ourselves. My name is Asia Coleman. I'm a BI professional as well as a professional services specialist. And what that all means is I help people create custom reports in their environment as well as answer questions when they're running into issues.
And I am Andrew Tuplin. I'm a developer for BI out of Vancouver. So I mostly work on the standard reports that come with the product.
Awesome.
And when Asia and I, turns out, when we do this together, something happens. Big explosion, and we become the A-team. Woo! So it's a two-headed monster. She talks fast, my neck hurts. And this is going to be a lot of fun. So thanks for coming out today. We have a lot to go through, but I think it's going to be a fun presentation.
Absolutely. Okay, so today we're going to cover a few things. We're going to cover what is BI and why BI. We're going to talk about logging into the tool, what's on the home page, what things do. We're going to go through a few of our standard reports and what they do and why they're important to you. We're going to talk about subscriptions, folder securities, linked reports, and we're going to also get into editing existing reports or using our report templates. Then we're going to go to our awesome sauce session where we talk about what's possible with the new tool, and we're going to take questions. And just to clarify, this is an overview session, so anything that is overviewed, there's more detail in the session handout, which you can download by scanning this QR code. Or if you're a geezer and you don't have a QR scanner, you can also use this direct link to the handout. So I'm going to give you a few seconds to scan that, and then we'll get started. So let's get into it.
All right, so I'm going to take the first section here where we cover what is BI. First, I'm just going to try to get a read on who's out there. How many of you are current BI users? Just show of hands. Okay, so probably like 70, 80%. How many are just kind of interested in what this thing does? You're not current BI subscribers? All right, as expected, about 20%. So the mathematics work out. So we're going to have some stuff for both camps here. For current users, there's some new stuff that we're going to show you. And for new people, you're just going to see like high-level overview of all kinds of stuff. So we can roughly break BI into two sections. On this side is what we do, and on this side is what you do. So we create standard reports, and we create visualizations, and those things are inside the standard reports, and we'll see those things today. You guys create your own custom reports, and you do ad hoc reporting. So someone just wants some data quickly, and you've got to get that out of the system. You're going to do those things. And at the very center is the data. So just about all of your RQ4 information gets shipped out to the cubes every night. So if you want to find out how much you sold in 2011 on Monday, you can get that answer in no time at all because all of the data is in the cubes. Okay, so next question, why use business intelligence? And I think this will apply for new users as well as existing users. So first thing is you can get your data how you want it. In RQ4 you have tons of reporting and it's kind of built in how that works. But sometimes you're going to need to get it out in a different way. So this allows you to do that. You're going to be able to communicate better internally and externally. So in addition to just getting your data, we've got tools to help you get your data out to your organization. You can make email subscriptions. With the web, you can provide logins to all kinds of people, and you can get your whole organization actually looking at your data. And this solves a huge problem because if you have one or two people looking at the data, then those people can do something with that information, but everybody else is still in the dark. So we want to kind of build some intelligence into the whole organization, and this is going to help us do that. Third point, you can focus on what matters most to your business. So we find that like just about every business has a different idea about what it's going to take to become successful. Are we going to focus on selling warranties? Are we going to focus on increasing our average dollars per activation? So whatever it is, you come together, you decide we need to focus on this. BI is going to let you then report on how you're doing in that. So we're going to make a custom report. We're going to really monitor this stuff. We're going to send it out to stores. We're going to have competitions. People are going to be aware of these metrics we're trying to hit. And that's going to help your business to succeed. Okay, so this is all of this information I've just presented in kind of a nice visual diagram. You start with RQ4 over here. You're making all kinds of transactions. You're selling things, ordering things, employees punching in, punching out. All of that data is going to get moved into the cube every night. You're going to make reports on that and send it out throughout your organization. People are then going to know more about how they've performed, about what you're trying to do. And then based on that information, they're going to be able to take steps, well-informed decisions, right? They're going to know something that you want them to know, and then they're going to make better decisions. And just talking to some people here, they've seen that happen. They've started reporting on things, they've shown that to people, and they've seen behavior change. And that's really what we're hoping to do, right? You want to enable your staff to do, make better choices. So this is a great tool for that. And I'm going to flash back to Asia to explain how we actually get into the system.
All right, so logging into BI is very simple. For those of you who are actively using it, I'm sure you know how to log in. But for those of you who are interested in the tool, logging in is very simple. You're going to use your first and last name and your database name from RQ. And then you're also going to use your RQ password. So that password is going to be used in all of our products all across the board. So you just have to know that one password and you're good to go. And just remember, this is all in the session handout. If you scan the code or if you typed in the link, it's in the handout as well. And so once you're logged in, this is the home page you'll see. There's a lot of options here right out of the box. You can create a new folder. You can access Report Builder, which is where you'll create custom reports. If you tap on My Subscriptions, you'll see any subscriptions you've made to any report logged in under your username. And this is the folder where you can view our standard reports, which is what Andrew's going to touch on here. So next portion is our awesome standard reports.
All right, so the standard reports is the suite of stuff that we've built that you get when you sign up with the program, the BI program. We actually have a release that we're going to send to you right after Summit in the next couple weeks. And that's going to update a number of your reports. It's going to give you some new stuff that you didn't have before. And so we're just going to jump through about 3 of those reports this morning and kind of look at what they can do for you. So when you launch, you get 14 reports out of the box. Those are 5 inventory reports. And then we have more covering sales and trends, refunds, products, locations, employees, and templates for building reports. So if we log in, this is what the home screen looks like for an admin. Again, this screen depends on your permissions, but if you're admin, this is what it'll look like. And you're just going to click on the iQmetrix reports folder, which will take you to our standard reports. And then these are super easy to run. You just click on the one you want. And again, this works on your phone or your tablet or your laptop or whatever. It's on the web, so it doesn't care. So let's have a look at growth trends. And this is the first of 3 reports that we're going to look at this morning. I would love to go through all of them, but time crunch, so we'll have to zoom through. So questions answered by growth trend. How are my sales doing? And we can look at the whole company, or we can go look down in an individual store, and we can look for all of our products or a particular product. Trending, so where are my sales heading for the end of the month or the end of the year? This is a huge thing that everybody's interested in, so we'll show you how that works in growth trends. How are my sub-locations performing? That's not going to make sense now, but it will in the next couple slides, so don't worry about that. So when we load growth trends, off the bat, we have to choose our filters. What do we actually want to report on in this report? And we have lots of options. We can run this report for a particular product. We can run this for sales or refunds or discounts or quantity. We can run this for all of our locations or a particular region, a particular district, a particular store. In this case, we're going to look at region 3. And then if you have your performance groups configured in RQ, you can report on any of them as well. So how are smartphones selling in region 3? That's an interesting question. Let's have a look. So the top part of the report, this is one of my favorite things in all of BI actually. This is showing 3 years of data month by month, but it's in a really consumable format. So on the bottom, this really light gray line is what happened 2 years ago, all throughout the year in region 3 for smartphones. The darker line here is what happened last year to smartphone sales. The black thick line is how we're progressing along this year, and the yellow stuff is where we're trending. So let's talk about trending for a minute, because everybody has opinions about how trending should be done, and I'll tell you how it works in this report. To get to the month end, we're going to compare the previous 30 days with last year's previous 30 days. So the idea is that this year kind of resembles last year, but we're up a bit or we're down a bit. So we figure out the percentage difference over this year's previous 30 days and last year's previous 30 days. And then we're going to say, what did we sell last year up until the end of the month? So at the end of October last year, we were at a certain amount. And this year, we're up or we're down a certain percentage. So we'll take that point last year and just multiply it by the up or the down, and then we can get a pretty good idea of where we're going to trend. The reason this is really good is that in retail, your sales they have these predictable patterns, right? In December, you sell more. In January, you sell less. In February, you sell less. And if there's only a couple days left in the month, and you're predicting like a flat trend, it's not going to work out very well because, oh, that was actually Boxing Day. So now your sales are huge on this one particular day, and you're trending. If you're not looking at last year, it's totally valueless. Or one of the days in the month is Black Friday, and sales are up to here. So this just kind of knows what happened last year, and so it's going to trend accordingly. So we can look over on the right side and see monthly trending. So in October, we've sold 41,000 in smartphones. Last month, we did this much. Last year, we did this much. And we're expecting to end up over here based on our trending. We do the same thing yearly. So here's where we are this year, last year, and here's where we're expecting to go. We've got Black Friday, and we've got Christmas season and stuff. So obviously our amount is going to go up from here. And when we compare the last like 180 days of sales for this year with the last 180 days from last year, we get out of here. So that is how we do trending. It's a pretty complicated thing. You probably have your own ideas. If you don't like our trending, you can totally modify the report. But this is great to run like first of the month and see where you're projecting to end up. Middle of the month, see where you think you're going to end up, and then you can do some more digging, find out who's meeting their trending and who's not, and maybe discover why. So the bottom half of the report, again, we just have a kind of comparison of how we've been performing month by month, and at the same time, we compare both this month and last year this month. So this is comparing the previous months, and this is comparing the current month to last year. So you can quickly scan and see how this year is comparing to last month, last year. The sub-location performance, which I mentioned previously, here's where that comes to play. So in this report, we're running for all locations, and our location hierarchy goes all locations, regions, districts, stores. So when we're looking at the company, below that we have regions. And this is what this is showing here. So on the left, we have regions that are improving performance, and on the right, we have regions that are not improving. So when you run this for company, you can see which of the districts are doing well and which ones aren't doing well. You can click on any of these things and run the report again for the thing you clicked on. So you can get an idea of the 3-year history of how that thing is performing. You can note problems, you can make phone calls. Hey, you're not performing compared to last year, last month, what's going on? and hopefully that information will help you address problems quicker than you would have otherwise. In the last section of the report, this is a really big report, right? There's a lot going on here. We always break out all of your stores. So on the left, you'll have stores that are improving over the last 30 days compared to the previous 30 days. Over the right, stores that are not improving. So again, if you're looking for successes, we go to the left side. If you're looking for problems, we go to the right side. And if we want to investigate further, we just click on store 23. Whew. So that's growth trends. Is everybody still with us? It's a lot of information. Okay, so next we'll look at report 2 of 3. This is a new one. So for current BI subscribers, this is going to come to you in a couple weeks. Rank location. Questions answered by rank location. How do my locations rank or compare to each other? What's happened over the last 4 months and over the last year? And how do we make fair comparisons? So this is what it looks like when we run the report. Again, we choose our filters at the top. We're looking at sales. We're looking at the whole company. We're looking at the store level. This is the critical thing. So we can choose to compare regions, districts, or stores. We're interested in stores, so we lock that in, and we run the report. Yeah, this is just showing that we've chosen sales. Here's a new, really cool feature. There's a new parameter, and it's called divide by measure. So we can choose to divide whatever we've picked up top, in this case sales, by hours punched, hours scheduled, the square footage of our locations, traffic count, etc. And this turns out to be a really awesome thing because we get an apples to apples comparison. If we're trying to compare stores, but they're different square footage, or they have a different number of punched hours, it's really hard to say store A has 100,000 in sales, store B has 80,000 in sales, because those things, they're hard to equate. One is a larger store, one has way more hours punched or whatever. So now we can say, here's a fair way to compare these things, and we'll lock it in, and then we'll see month to date per hours punched. So we have like wildly different number of hours punched. This store has 52 hours punched for last year and 385 for this year. But we can see per hours punched, we're selling 164 or 182. So if we just scan down this column, we get to compare the locations against each other, dividing by hours punched. And if we look at this yellow column, we get information on what happened last year. So some really great ways to compare your stores or your regions or your districts. We can do the same thing with another new report we've added, which is rank employee. It's going to do the same thing as rank locations, but we're going to get a little more information about employees. And again, employees are hard to compare, right? Because employee Asia worked 10 hours last month. Employee Andrew worked 20 hours last month. When we look at their sales, this guy's a superstar, she's not very good. But when we divide them by the hours punched, oh, actually Asia's done quite well with her 10 hours. So she's going to come off looking a lot better on that report, and she should, right? She's made more with her time. So comparing locations and employees is really difficult, and these new features are really going to help you to do that better. Yes, again, so employees, we can now compare apples to apples because we've worked the same number of hours for the measure. Okay, the last report I have time to show you this morning is the product report. This is a brand new one that is kind of awesome, so I'm excited to show you. On the left is what it looks like. So we're just going to look at the kinds of questions answered by product, and then we'll kind of scan down this and see what it's actually doing. So we're hoping to answer lots and lots of questions with product. Simple goal. The reason that is that this report is built for drill-in. So when you're looking at another report, say, well, any of them, and you see a product, you can click on a button and you can drill into what that product is and see all kinds of data. We've done the same thing for locations, so now whenever you see a location, you'll be able to get more data. We've also done the same thing for employees. So these are the main things that you're looking at in your reports, and from now on, you'll be able to click a button and get all kinds of information about those things. So we have our data is starting to become more interconnected, and that's going to be great because you see a report, creates questions, you're going to click on this thing and hopefully answer some of those. Yeah.
Connect.
Points of connection. This is also going to allow you to explore your data a little bit. So here's an example. We're looking at top and bottom performers. We see that we have some products down here, and we have a little button that we can push to drill into those products. So if I want more information on this Apple iPhone 16 gigabyte white, I will click this little button, and then I'll zoom off to the product report, which is going to load for the Apple iPhone 16 gigabyte white. And it's going to take all of the parameters from the report I was looking at and apply them to this one. So in the last report, I was looking at a 30-day range, and that's over here. I was looking at all locations, which is 57 stores. So here's all my details for my Apple phone, the SKU and the cost and the primary vendor and all that. And then there's a breakdown of sales and cost and profit for the 30 days and for all time and per day amounts. We can look at a 2-year history of cost and sales for that product. So what's this thing done over its lifetime? Is it on the downward trend? Are we getting rid of it? Is it starting to heat up? Should we order more? We can get some of that data out of here. We have trending for October, so it looks like we haven't sold, well, we sold 293 in sales, which is almost nothing compared to a typical month. And we can also say, for this category, so iPhones belongs to, iPhone 5 16 gigabyte white belongs to this category called iPhone. And when we look at the whole category, this phone makes up 14% of sales. So that's, again, a super valuable metric. Looking down at the bottom of half of the report, here's one of our new visualizations. It's a heat map calendar. If you go to the next session with Sarah Tuff and Tony Burbage, Tony will explain what this is. But basically, this just allows you to look at 6 months, and based on the gradient, you'll know which sales days were hot and which ones were cold. So you'll be able to say, oh, the dark red one, something happened on September 27th, and we sold a crap ton of phones. And then the next day, there were actually more refunds than sales. So again, this is going to answer some questions for you. Finally, the category rank. So what we do here, when you click on a product like iPhone, we're going to bring back the whole category. Sorry, the product was iPhone 16 gigabyte white. We're going to bring back the whole category, and we're going to show how this thing is doing in that category compared to everything else. So for this date range, we can see that this is the number 4 product. It has 14% of sales, and we can look at refunds and discounts and stuff. So it's a great way to compare how this thing's doing compared to other things in the category. And again, we can click on anything here and refresh the report for that. Okay, final notes on standard reports. These things are totally open. You can go and open them up in Report Builder. You can modify them if it's not doing what you want. You can copy and paste parts and put it into your own report. So these can actually be a really great starting point. If you have a report that's kind of similar to one of these, don't build it from scratch. Take one of these, modify it, hack it up, and that's yours to do. You can customize it, make it work for your organization, and steal pieces. We also have, I should mention, 2 product library reports that we've already built. So once you get integrated with product library, probably sometime next year, we've got stuff for you there too that's going to use some of the attributes of the product library and do all kinds of fun stuff there. Back to Asia.
All right. So next thing we're going to talk about is creating subscriptions. And one of the most common features that people love about BI is the ability to automatically email things. So once you set up subscriptions, you can have a report, any report, whether it be one of our standard reports or one of your custom reports. You can choose a daily schedule or a weekly schedule, a monthly schedule, that this report will automatically be sent to whomever it needs to go to. And it'll end up in their individual inboxes, and you don't have to go in and send that report off every day. It'll do that automatically for you. So let's talk about how we can set that up. So those reports that Andrew just showed us were really awesome. They're so awesome, in fact, that we want to send them to every store manager, let's say. So we go back into those reports, and we really like growth trends. So we're going to subscribe to growth trends. This is the first page you'll see. And again, you see the BI symbol in the corner. That means this is in the handout as well. You're going to type in the emails you want it to be sent to. You can choose various different formats to send it as. You can send it as an Excel document, a PDF, a Word document. And you can also include a custom message there if you want. But the meat of this really is selecting your schedule. So once you click that Select Schedule button, this will open. And you can choose, you can send it hourly, you can send it daily. If you want to send it the first of every month, you can do that as well. And you can also choose specific days of the week if you want. And another awesome feature on this page is start and end dates. So let's say you created a report that's a competition report for the month of October. You can set this up where it starts on October 1st and it cancels itself automatically on October 31st. You don't have to come back later and cancel the subscription. So that's cool. So once you got your schedule all set up, you're going to click OK. And now you can also change the parameters that this report runs on. So Andrew showed you that you can maybe lock a report down to only show a specific store or district. You can do that also when you set up the subscription. You can say, I'm sending this to Store Manager 1, so I'm only going to choose Store Manager 1 for this subscription. And once you have that all set up, it's right there for you. So that's a really simple process, and it's something that a lot of people had trouble with the last tool, with automating the delivery. So this is a great tool for that. Okay, so next thing I want to show you is another way you can use securities in the BI setup, and this is with managing folder securities. So the first thing is, what's a folder? Obviously, it's just a container that you put things in, whether that be reports or data sets. Whatever's in your folder, you can lock it down. And you can automate this and set up the securities that only certain people have access to this in your company. So once you set up the securities, the people that log in will only see what they've been given access to. And you can also have different levels of security. Let's say Bob is somebody, he's a kind of sketchy guy, you don't want him to be able to change anything. You can make him a report reader only, meaning he can't change anything in the environment, he can't make any tweaks to the reports, he can't load in new reports, he can only view them. But let's say Susan here is an outstanding employee. You want her to be able to write reports and read reports, delete and add new reports. You can make her a report writer and she'll have a higher level of security. But the most important thing, you can keep bad guys out of the data they're not supposed to see. So if this sketchy guy tries to come in and view other districts, or maybe he's an employee and he wants to see other employees' data, he can't do that if you set up the securities correctly. So that's the most important thing about securities. And so 3 reasons why this is awesome. First thing is access. Right now, BI is set up where, well, by default, BI is set up where only people who are administrators in RQ4 have access to BI. This gives you the ability to open up BI to anyone that you want to have access to it. So let's say you have a store manager, he's not an administrator in RQ4, but he can still have access to BI if you set up the securities correctly. The next thing is share. Now, you don't only have to rely on emailing reports. You can also have people log in for themselves and view reports. So for that example I said where you have a competition report amongst all your stores, now you can set up this security and have the store managers log in for themselves every morning and check that report instead of having it sent to them in their email. And the last part, of course, is secure. You can set it up. If people aren't supposed to see something, they won't. And if they are supposed to see it, they will.
Yeah, and this does use your RQ4 security roles that you've already created, so you don't need to redo all of your organization's security. You can just tap into what you've got in RQ4.
Absolutely. And I did in the handout, there's a specific example on how to set that up. Just because of time, we can't go into all the details, but it is in there, so check that out. So let's talk about how we can kind of set this up. If we create a new folder, we're gonna set this up for Store 1. We want Store Manager 1 to have access to BI. So we're gonna create a new folder and go into the Security tab. Okay, and so now Megan Close is the Store Manager for Store 1. When she logs into BI, she's only gonna see the Store 1 folder. So all those other admin folders she doesn't have access to, she can only see her data and her stuff. Okay? So once you have those folders set up, now you can get into the next part, which is creating linked reports.
Thank you, Asia. Okay, so creating linked reports. What linked reports allow you to do is to have one master report and then configure all of these other linked reports for other people to see. And so as an example, say you want a report for each of your 20 districts. One way you might have done this in the past is to create 20 district reports. And why that is awful is that, oh shoot, we want to capture a new metric in that report. Now let's go change 20 reports. We need to add a column, we need to take this away, or something actually isn't quite right about the report. Well, let's go back to those 20 reports and change them. And if we miss something, now our reports are out of sync. So that's a terrible system, and this is actually a much better system. So what we have here is we'll have one master report. We'll create reports that link to that thing, so they're just pointers, but they can have their own security. We'll put them in the places where we want them. And then these linked reports, all they do is they execute the master report with a certain set of filters for them. So this will be set for location 1, this will be set for location 2, this will be set for location 3, but they'll all just execute this master report. Now when we find something broken in these reports, change it in one place. So that's going to save your teams huge time if you're trying to do this kind of thing. So to create a linked report, this is what we do. We go to the report we want to create a linked report for, let's say growth trends again. We're going to hover over it and choose the Create Linked Report option. And then from here, it's much like making an email subscription. It's not too hard. So you'll give the linked report a name. We'll call it Store 1 Growth Trends because we're going to lock into Store 1. We're going to set the parameters for this report. So everything that is there is fine. We don't really want to change too much there, except we want to lock in a particular location. I have no idea why, but this doesn't work quite the same way as email subscriptions. You actually have to copy and paste a text value in here, where in email you have a drop-down to pick through options, but it's not that hard. It's just an extra step. So what we need to do is find the code for location 1. So we're going to go into our report builder templates folder and run this special report, which is called parameter value lists. We're going to find the code for Store 1. There it is, locations and employees.storename1. We'll copy that. We'll paste it back into this box. And the other thing to note here is this column of checkboxes for hide or show. We actually don't want the user to be able to change that location. We want to just lock it in and hide it. So we will check this hide thing, and then it'll remove this prompt user. So we're going to hit apply. We're going to tell this linked report where it lives. So Asia's just set up a folder for Store Manager 1. So we're just going to drop this linked report over there. So we'll click Change Location, and we'll pop it in Store 1 and hit OK. And now when we open that folder, we're going to see Store 1 Growth Trends. And this is the linked report that we've just created. And let's see what that looks like when we run it. So we're looking at growth trends again, and two things to note. One, you can't choose the location. We just locked that in. And two, we're running for Store 1. So that's how you create a linked report. We could make one of these for each of our stores, and then when a change comes, we just change the master and we don't worry about the other things. They just run the master report anyway. So that's a great way to kind of configure reports specifically for different kinds of users in your organization and to handle change management. Back to Asia.
All right. So now we're going to get into kind of the meat of the session, which is editing existing reports, which basically means using our templates to create your own custom reports. Rule of thumb when using BI, you always want to start with a template if you can. So we've provided, how many, like 20 different templates to use, and so often you'll find whatever it is that you need. There shouldn't be too many cases where you can't use one of our templates. So let's get into that. Okay, first thing, report building doesn't have to be scary. Like I mentioned, we have plenty of templates for you, so there's no need to be frightened by this. It's very user-friendly, which I will hopefully prove to you right now. So back on your home page, if you're an admin and you have the ability to create reports, not if you're that sneaky guy that gets locked out of everything, but if you have administrative rights, you can come in here and use our templates. So we're going to click on this folder and we're going to choose one of these templates. I think this one looks pretty interesting, date range calendars. And this is a template you can use just about for any report that has to do with date ranges. So if this is a month-to-date report, if this is a report that you run on the first of the month for last month, anytime you have a locked-in range of dates, you can use this template. So we're going to choose Edit in Report Builder. You're going to log in with the exact same credentials you use to log into BI, so that's simple. No need to think of anything else. You're going to log in, and this is the first thing you're going to see. So yeah, there's a lot of things on the screen, but I don't want you to pay attention to that stuff because it's in the handout, so don't try to memorize everything. Just try to follow along. We're going to open up data sets, and you'll see a data set in there named main because it's the most important one. So we're going to click on that and go into the properties for that. Now inside of here there's a lot that you can change, but the only thing we're going to work on right now is the query designer. Now first thing to understand of what a data set is, it's just a basket that holds all your data or that you're going to put all your data in, and the query designer, you can think of it like the grocery store that you go to purchase all this stuff to put in your cart, right? So we're going to go to the grocery store, we're going to log in. It's Sam's Club, so we have to have a membership, so yeah. So the first thing you'll see is that you'll have the date ranges in there. You won't need to change those because you can change them later in the report. So the only thing you need to do is come right in and start adding the stuff that you need. Don't worry about deleting things or taking things out. Just start adding what you need into your cart. So we want to see all of our stores, so we're just going to grab regions and stores, click and drag, and drop it into your cart. It automatically puts it there. You don't need to worry about changing it. Nope, just put it there. Okay. Next thing we're going to do is create a custom column. So let's say we want to know what we're selling on our accessories. So you can do that by creating a custom measure. Click on the little calculator. We're going to call it accessory sales. Now, if you have your performance group set up in RQ, this is a really easy process. If not, then you should start using it because you just should, because it's the best. Okay, so we're going to find our performance groups, and hopefully you have one in there named accessories. If not, you need to consider a different profession. Okay, so you're going to click and drag that into the box. And now the next thing we need is sales, right? So we're going to go to measures and find sales. And we're going to click and drag that into the box as well. Now don't try to remember this syntax because it's in the handout, but just know that there is a correct way to do this, and you will get an error if you don't do it correctly. But it's in the handout, and you just repeat the process the same way over and over again. So once we have that, we'll click OK, and now we'll see we have accessory sales here in our calculated members box. And we can add that to our cart by just clicking and dragging. So now this is a very simple meal that we're trying to make. We've got all our groceries. We're like, okay, I'm ready to check out. We click OK. Okay. Okay, so now we're out of the grocery store. We're back at home. We need to cook our meal or display our data, right? Easiest way to display data is by using a table. If you click on the Insert tab, which looks similar to the Insert tab in Excel or Microsoft Word, you'll see that you can add a table to your report. And there actually is a table wizard, so you don't have to worry about all the fancy things. You can just click on the wizard and it'll walk you right through. So we just created that main data set, so of course we're going to use that guy. We're going to click Next. So what do we want to see? We want to see all of our regions. We can drag that in. We want to see our districts and stores. We can drag that in. And we want to see our sales. We'll just drag that in. So now we're ready. We can just click Next because the wizard is so smart. We don't even have to read what's on this next slide. We're just going to click Next and finish. Okay, and magically the wizard taps his wand and puts your table on your report. So now let's see what that looks like. Awesome. So now we see all of our regions, and what we just did is we created a drill down report without even trying, right? We just click on these little plus signs. We see all of our districts. We click and open that. We see all of the stores inside of that district. So this is a very simple example, of course. There's a lot of things you can do in here. You can add graphs, you can add charts, all these different types of things you can add. But this is just a simple example to show you that this is a Microsoft tool, so it's very user-friendly. A lot of the screens look very familiar with Excel. And so we're just going to go back and save this. Anytime you're using a template, it's good practice to do a save as, so you don't save over top of that template, and then you can use it again in the future.
Let's just take 1 second and talk about when we actually want to build in Excel and when we want to stick with the current tool. So on the left, we have Report Builder, all the stuff we've been talking about, the web tool. That's a single repository, right? All of your stuff is in one place, and that's extremely convenient. You don't have to worry if it's on Bob or Adam's computer. It's backed up nightly. If something goes wrong, you can call us. We can restore to like any hour that you choose. That's a great feature as well. Supports many users in your organization, everybody, just a couple people. You can configure their security, so you choose exactly what they want to see. And you can make highly designed reports, so the sort of stuff that we showed you this morning. Excel, it's quicker and easier, right? So you can quickly create ad hoc reports. Somebody calls you, they have a meeting, they need sales in District 2 or whatever. Excel, no brainer. It allows you to explore your data, which we're going to do in just a second, and it's fun. You have tons of spreadsheets right now coming from, who knows, payroll, carriers, finance. And you already use Excel to try to mash that data together, right? So now you're going to be able to do that with BI, RQ4 data a lot easier too, because you're Excel experts and you know how that works. Okay, couple caveats here. Security is all or nothing. So if you're giving someone the ability to create reports in Excel, you have to give them access to the whole cube. Pin drop, right? So you don't want to give that to everyone in your organization. And because Excel is connecting to the cubes and bringing the data in, it doesn't have the data. You can't necessarily share the Excel report you just made out into your organization by default. There's going to be ways that you're going to be able to get around it. But really what we're trying to suggest is if it's a multi-user thing you're trying to do, put it on the web. If it's a quick ad hoc report thing, do it in Excel. And I'm sure that you're smart people and you'll figure out how to get Excel out to your users anyway. We'll work with you on that as well. So thanks very much for coming out. You guys have been a great audience. Appreciate it very much.